Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Xander.
Welcome to Supposedly. This is a video series where we explore the myths and realities of sustainable product development. And today we're going to talk about circularity.
Supposedly, building products for circularity is so complex and expensive, businesses can't afford to build that into their product development process.
Yeah, in fact, there's no incentive for businesses today to do that because what they really want to do is to sell you a product that's going to end up in landfill as quickly as possible so that they can turn around and sell you another one and profit from that.
If we think back 100 years, it wasn't always like this. I'm thinking of, say, a family sewing machine that was expected to last decades and was essential for them to repair their clothing. They couldn't afford to just throw the sewing machine away when it broke. They had to find a way to repair it and keep it in use.
Yeah, and today, different story. You know, think of the smartphone. I buy a smartphone, it prompts me to upgrade the OS. A couple years later, my smartphone can no longer support the new operating system and I have to chuck it, and that's very infuriating to me.
There are companies like Singer who have made things for decades in a certain way that actually have made them quite profitable. Worth trying to think of, what if we took some of those same principles that have made the Singer business profitable and applied them to the Apples and the Googles developing our modern technology, and how can we take some of those principles and build products that way now?
So what if we lived in a world where circularity was the standard?
We'd have to rethink so many things. For starters, when we started a product, we'd have to think about what the end of life looks like for that product. What does it mean when that product gets thrown away?
And maybe we are not actually planning to throw it away, we're planning to put it, instead of the trash bin, let's reframe it as the circularity bin.
Yeah, and maybe we need to think of new language as well. What if instead of throwing something away, we had a new word like circulating it?
Or regenerating it. Like what if we actually went one step further and we said, okay, we put something in the circularity bin, it's actually going to send energy back into the earth and restore our natural resources.
I love the aspirational part there, because this is something we totally need to be thinking about far in the future. Maybe even closer to the present is this bin is going to help sort our materials into the place that they need to go.
Right, yeah. Like there's a kiosk, you take a product and put it in the kiosk, the receptacle, and it knows what the product is, it knows what to do with it, and then it even pays you for it.
And this brings to mind the potential, what if through legislation we actually disincentivized products that were being designed to be landfilled at the end of their life, and incentivized the creation of smarter products, but also incentivized people to circulate their materials at the end of the product's life.
Okay, so what if we had an infrastructure that enabled products to get back to the manufacturer so that they could recognize the value in the pieces and do something appropriate with it?
There need to be a lot of new actors in this space. Recycling centers that not only collected whatever ended up in the recycling bin, but actually collected specific types of waste that they specialize in remanufacturing.
I think it's an opportunity for new businesses to come in and start to play a part in getting those products back to the manufacturer. Think about TerraCycle. They're a great example of a company that's doing this with packaging materials. They're enabling you to collect like packages and send them back to the manufacturer. We need more businesses like that who are doing that for all kinds of products, not just packaging.
And so we at Ronin have started to think about some of the ways we might help our clients work towards circular business models and circular product design.
So some of the things that we do right now is, okay, if we need to plan for a circular economy, let's design for disassembly, which we've talked about. Well, let's design for recycling and design for repair.
And all of these things are great ways to keep materials in use in the product for as long as possible. And of course, recycling towards the end of a product's life. But even more aspirational, we've been thinking, what if, at the end of a product's life, the materials that comprise that product are actually nutrients for the ecosystems that helped create that product in the first place?
We love thinking about waste as food, and just kind of rethinking of everything in our lives as a circular model. Waste is actually good stuff that we want to keep because it's nutrients and we want to preserve them in the cycle.
So in the broadest sense, we're trying to zoom out from the idea of, okay, here's the part of this product that needs to be recycled or taken apart, and actually really thinking on a systems level, what does the earth need and how do our products not detract from the Earth's ability to sustain itself, but actually feed into systems that will continue to sustain our lifestyles. Mm-hmm.
So what are some takeaways? Well, for one thing, newer isn't always better. And so if I want to buy something, maybe I can start by looking for the used version of it.
And if we're going to try to build a circular economy, we're going to need to use the things we already own over and over and over again, not just once. It's not a little circular blip on a straight line. We need to find ways through repair, recycling, refurbishment, selling them to a friend or a neighbor.
And sharing our creative ideas about how to really extend. How many loops can we get out of this?
As we think about it as a community and as sharing these resources we have, that also brings to mind business models we might work towards that actually allow a company to sell a product over and over again, actually thinking of the product not as something we necessarily even need to own.
Right.
It's just something we pay to use. So thinking of products as a service.
Yeah, subscriptions. Like, purchasing, instead of buying a product and owning it outright, you're actually buying a subscription. And it's the manufacturer who owns the product, and they keep sending you products, and as they wear out, they return them, and you get a new one.
And there's a lot of incentive then for the company to make their products well in the first place, and to keep those products in circulation, because every time they're used, they're making money from it, and we're benefiting. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
I get a lot of fulfillment out of building community, and this is one of those ways that we can do that. Reaching out, instead of just throwing something in the trash bin and staying in our little cave, really reaching out to our community and sharing ways, sharing products, sharing resources, sharing things of value, so that we're extending that lifespan as long as possible.
We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Please leave any ideas you have for things you do in your life that you think are circular or that might inspire us for practices we can adopt.
Yeah, and ask us any questions. We're here to support you. So we may have some resources available for you to bring circular economy into your life. And let's all inspire each other.
And if there's anything you're doing at work that comes to mind as something that might feed into the collective we're building at Ronin around this movement, we'd love to hear from you and love to work together.
Yeah, maybe you'd like to join us here at Ronin. So until then, see you next time.
Bye-bye.